Hello, welcome to this video. It's going to be all about Adobe Animate. We're going to look at the camera tools in Adobe Animate. But to begin, we're going to get a background, and we're going to do that by creating a document of 640 by 480 in Photoshop here. And we're going to get our background by just getting in a sky replacement. So this is the sky we're going to use, and we're just going to press enter on that, and then we're going to save it. All right, let's go into Animate now, and we're going to go to Create New, and we're going to click Standard, and we're going to leave all the settings as they are. And we'll make sure we've got fit in window here. All right, now we're going to import to the stage, find our sky document, which is here. We don't really need these other things, so we'll just take that. All right, so there's our background. All right, let's get some more layers in then. So we're going to take this layer and we're going to call this one shape, and we're going to make sure it's the right size. So we're just going to go in here, and we know the width needs to be that. We want it to be a third, so that's going to be 160. And we're also going to just bump this down a bit as well to 75. And then we can just position that rectangle there. Okay, let's do text now. All right, maybe the sun is setting. We're actually going to change the color of the text to... I think we should be able to just eyedrop maybe this color. There we go. And we're going to just put it there. I might actually make it a little bit bigger than that. So we can go here and just, well, I could make it about there, and then we could expand the box, right? There you go. Let's get that. Over here is fine. All right, let's extend the, let's create the animation then. So we're going to just select these frames over here, press F5. We're going to extend that out to that. Okay, so we're going to make sure our shape is selected. We're in the shape layer. And we're going to take that alpha down to 0%. So you can see it's no longer there. Now we're going to go to 1 second. A good way to look at this is if the first number will be exactly on the frame. So if you just see that 3, so this frame here is 35, for instance. This one is 30. You can see here, but it's an easier way to do it. Okay, so that fill is at 0%. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple of keyframes. So we're going to go F6 this time, and that's going to create a keyframe there. And we're going to go F6 again. That's going to create a keyframe there. And at this point, we can select the box, and we can ramp this back up to 75. And then we can create a shape tween here. You can see slowly it gets darker. So keep in mind what you have access to with the shape tweens. You've got access to the fill here, and you've also got the access to the shape options. So if you want to have more effects, you're going to actually need to do a classic tween. So we're going to do the classic tween on the text. Okay, now we're going to look at the text layer. So we're going to unlock this one, press this button as well to go to the beginning. We can click on the first one, and you can see we've got the text selected here. Press F8 here, and this is going to create it to text. And we're going to make this a movie clip, which already is. So you can notice that you get a little plus sign in the middle. If you look here as well, you can see it's a movie clip. So now you actually have access to a bunch of different options, including, by the way, like alpha, which is like essentially the same as the fill and the shape layer, but you've got a bunch of other stuff as well. You can do the blend, and you've got filters, 3D position, vanishing point, bunch more stuff. That's why you wanted to convert it to a classic tween, because you can't, you need to have a symbol for that. So the way we're going to do this one is going to go to this spot here in frame 80, and we're going to create a new keyframe. Then when we're going to hover over this, we're going to click the keyframe. You see when there's a tiny little box. Unfortunately, it's very, very small. But we're just going to move this all the way down, and what it will do is it will literally move. It will cut and move is a way to look at it. So you can see it doesn't actually exist there. But you notice if you click on it and select it here, you see, because it's got a little plus in, you know you're dealing with a movie clip. And what we can do then is, it's kind of similar to the shape one, but it works differently in that you do it in an alpha value from 0. And this one you see has already got alpha value of 100, right? So in this case, all you need to do is you do a classic tween, and then you can see what's going to happen. We can even do a little test here. So you can do a little test here. Control Enter is a good way to do it. You can see that they both sort of fade in a similar way, but one you're obviously dealing with a symbol and one you're dealing with a shape. Keep in mind there are 3 tweens, right? So we'll look at what motion tween is in a moment. A tween is essentially a frame effect because you're not dealing with keyframes. So you can see this is why we're in the frame tab here. And generally, the one to go for is ease in and out. And court, from what I can tell, I think is seen as the most popular one. So we'll just do that for both of them. We can take a little look. You can also click this button, by the way. That does the same as Control Enter. Just a little, it's a little bit smoother than it was. It's not that noticeable, but I think if you do more projects, it will become more noticeable. Okay, so the next thing to do is to work with the camera tool. So this is something which, if you used Animate before, this didn't actually exist before, but it does exist now. When you click on it, you'll notice you're going to get this camera thing, and you're also going to get this button here. And what you're going to want to do is, the thing about this new type of tween, this motion tween, is it doesn't actually need keyframes. So you can see that is already activated. So with the camera, we're going to do a similar sort of thing here. In frame 50, we're going to have a keyframe, but you do need to do a different type of keyframe. You need to go to Insert Keyframe All, and then that will duplicate the camera's properties. Okay, now we're going to go back to frame 10. And what we're going to do here is we can go to the camera properties here, and we can actually change that to 150%. And you'll notice it's going to zoom in. You can also move it here. And similarly, we need to go back to the first one as well. So we're going to put that at 150. So you'll see that this is going to now work as you might expect. So if we take a look now at the product. So there's also a couple of things you can do. And if you look at the document settings, in this section, in more settings, advanced layers. That's normally on. You don't really need to worry about that. But what you can actually do with it is you can actually do a lot of different frame effects. You have access to blend, filters, and of course the color effects. So you can see I'm in the sky layer at the moment. It's actually locked. But if we change the brightness, for example, you can see I can actually do sort of like Photoshop type effects in here. So you could do a sort of interesting glow effect with like a, maybe not that color, maybe I'll do a slightly different color here. You see, the good thing about shape tweens, that a shape tween can also change between colors, right? So maybe we could instead do a different kind of shape tween. Maybe I'll try doing a white fading to blue. We do white. And we're going to fade to like a dark, like a more pleasant looking blue color. That actually looks a little bit better. It probably happens a little bit too fast. So what I might actually do instead is fade from a color which is not good. So it's just so the distance it has to travel on the color wheel is not too far. We'll do like from here. And I think also that kind of reflects what's actually going on, right? You can see the distance is not so far now. Oh, we could briefly talk about this. So for instance, so what we could try actually is maybe try and show a little bit of parallax scrolling stuff, right? Can this still work? Yeah. No, that's better. Well, that'll do for now. So let's take a look at the layer depth button. So you can see as the values get lower, the objects are going to come forward. But you can see we can put them real far back in the background. So if you actually did something with this, right? So say you just had like an animation like that, right? And then you use the layer depth. Oh, you know what? There's also something else I completely forgot to talk about with the camera button. And the cool thing about the camera button, this is just amazing to me because I've never actually messed around with it. Yeah, but the cool thing about the camera button is you can actually like do so much cool stuff with it. Like you can do rotation as well. So imagine this, right? Like let's put a motion tween on here, right? So can we do a, you can just do motion tween on it, and then can we change, let's see if we can change the value. So you can start to like do really cool stuff. But yeah, what I was actually going to show you was not that. But yeah, you can really start to mess around with it there. But the cool thing you can do with it is you can actually do rotate as well, which is nutty. So like, you know, this is like a really basic example. But yeah, you can start. Yeah, but I have to mess around with this because this to me is amazing. Because I used to play with Flash many years ago, and you couldn't do this sort of thing before. This is pretty awesome. Anyway, we'll get back to it another point in time. Thanks for watching.